This is the Election Bureau. It's midday. Hello and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domina. Coming up this afternoon, National Democratic Congress files application for interlocutory injunction to restrain the Electoral Commission from printing parliamentary ballot papers for Memphis Central.
We will take all the legal processes or measures to have this matter remedied.
Also coming up, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin to rule on petition seeking to remove 4 members of Parliament from the House. Still in the news, Government Assurances Committee Chairperson Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa hints of a possible summoning of Foreign Affairs Minister over a contract given to a private firm to handle visa applications.
The Foreign Affairs Committee is going to be summoning the Minister for Foreign Affairs. Then we are going to summon the management of the company. We are going to also be speaking to our embassy officials who are totally outraged.
And later in the bulletin, Supreme Court gives lawyers of Speaker of Parliament additional 7 days to file defense in ongoing anti-gay bill case.
It is not only counsel for the first defendant who did not file, but the Attorney General also has not filed his statement of case.
Stay with us for details of these and more stories coming your way in the next half hour. Remember, the news is live across the globe on citynewsroom.com. Around the country, we're live on a number of affiliate stations. If you're in the western region, this is Premier 100.5 FM in Takoradi, Beach 105.5 FM in Takoradi. In the Bono region, this is J Life 95.5 FM in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. Volta region, find us on Akpeni Radio 96.7 in Bando. Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoi. In the northern region, this is Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. In Upper East Word 88.3 FM in Zuarungu. In Upper West, Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura. In the Northeast region, this is Eagle FM 94.1 FM in Wale Wale. You can join us for the conversation with the hashtag Citi Verifies and hashtag Ghana Post. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
We're grateful for your company this afternoon. We begin with some election-related matters. And this afternoon, the National Democratic Congress has filed an application for interlocutory injunction, restraining the Electoral Commission from printing parliamentary ballot papers for the Memphis Central constituency. Now, this follows a decision by the Electoral Commission to disqualify Joanna Kujo, who serves as the parliamentary candidate from the race. I have been joined in studio by my colleague Fred Tejabano. He has a copy of the injunction. He will run us through. Fred, what does this say?
Yes, so the NDC, led by their legal directorate, this morning filed a writ at the High Court, and what they are challenging is they are challenging the decision by the Electoral Commission to disqualify their parliamentary candidate for Memphis Central, Joanna Jan. The party went ahead to file an injunction application, interlocutory injunction application, wanting to halt the printing of ballot papers, parliamentary ballot papers, which are expected to be printed anytime soon. The NDC believes that the case brought against the EC before the court needs to be heard before the EC goes ahead in printing these ballot papers. They are challenging the decision of the EC to disqualify Joanna Jan. And as we know, the EC recently issued ballot statistics to ensure that ballot papers begin the printing of ballot papers. So the EC is actually on its way to print ballot papers when they announced that Madame Jan had been disqualified. So what the NDC has done this morning is to go to the court to file an injunction application to halt the process of printing ballot papers.
So if the court grants this application, what does it mean?
If the court grants the application, it means that the EC would need to put on hold the process of printing the ballot papers. And once the process is put on hold, if the case is not determined before the 7th of December, there will be no elections in Amenfi Central on the 7th of December. But we haven't gotten there yet. The High Court is expected to hear the case on the 24th of October next week to determine whether to grant the injunction application of the NDC or dismiss it. After that, they will know what happens. But if the court upholds this application, it means that the printing process will be put on hold. Also means that the election will not take place until the matter is resolved.
We do also know that the parliamentary candidate, through her lawyers, has filed an appeal against the Electoral Commission's decision. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, through her lawyers, Ayene and Ayene wrote an appeal to the Electoral Commission, asking them to review their decision. According to them, they had gone through the right legal processes. The party had gone through an election, a primaries, which elected her rightfully to contest the parliamentary elections. Hence, the decision by the court or the decision by the Electoral Commission should not hold. That's the application, or that's the appeal or petition they've sent to the Electoral Commission to relook at this whole matter. But you see, this whole matter stems out from a suit filed by some 3 members of the constituency who belong to the NDC with regards to Madam Joanna Jan. They are challenging her legitimacy to be the parliamentary candidate of the party for that particular constituency. According to them, she doesn't have the right membership card, and they are also challenging her voter's ID. They also challenge the fact that she was not elected rightly as of May 2023, when the NDC held their parliamentary elections.
Do we know if the party has responded to some of these allegations?
Yes, the party has responded. As we speak now, the party and these people are in court. But what happened is that some few days before nominations were opened, the party looked at the issue which was in court and decided to annul the first election which was held in May last year. So in September this year, the NDC organized a new parliamentary primaries, of which it had open nominations for everybody to contest. We are told that there are 2 people who filed to contest, Madam Joanna Jan and the incumbent member of parliament for Amenfi Central. They all filed to contest. According to party executives, during the vetting process, they realized some issues with the nomination forms of the incumbent MP. When his attention was drawn to it, he decided to withdraw from the race. After withdrawing, they went ahead to confirm Madam Jan as the parliamentary candidate. So they believe that the new election set aside the old one, which is currently in court. Hence, their candidate should be allowed to run the election.
Very well. Thank you so much, Fred Tejabana. He's my colleague here, giving us details of that application for interlocutory injunction filed by the Electoral Commission against filed by the NDC against the Electoral Commission. Well, earlier this morning, we spoke to the Director of Legal Affairs for the party, Ediji Tamaklo, who hints that the party plans to formally respond to the Electoral Commission's letter.
When it comes to parliamentary election, Parliament can always be constituted by a certain threshold. So, in fact, it is not even the requirement of law that all constituencies must have their parliamentary election on December the 7th. It is not the case. Parliament is deemed constituted with a certain number of parliamentary or members of parliament. It does not require the entire 76 that will be happening in 2024 for Parliament to be deemed constituted. So my General Secretary indicated today at 10, the party would formally respond to that letter dated 10th October and indicate what further steps the party will take to have this matter remedied. We will take all the legal processes or measures to have this matter remedied.
So you heard there, Duji Tamaklo. He's the Director of Legal Affairs for the National Democratic Congress. Well, let's stay on matters of legal affairs. And the Supreme Court has given 7 additional days to lawyers of the Speaker of Parliament to file their statement of defense in the ongoing case by Richard Sky challenging the anti-LGBTQ plus bill passed by the House. Now, the defendants in the case, Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General, missed the deadline for the submission of their defenses. I'm glad to be joined by my colleague Hansen Ajima. He's our court correspondent. He was in court for us this morning. Hansen, did the court give any reasons for this decision?
Well, for the court, the reason it granted the decision of the Speaker of Parliament's lawyers to ask for additional days is because it was not opposed to. And usually, if the court finds it needful, it will grant such applications. And the opposing side, that's the plaintiff himself, Richard Delasky, as well as the Attorney General, they did not oppose this plea. However, with respect to the parties, they did not give any explanation as to why they delayed, but they rather pleaded on the court not to, quote and unquote, visit their sentence on their client, meaning that they took full responsibility for the delay in submitting the statement of defense.
Now, what does this mean for the case going forward?
Well, what it means for the case is that in 7 days' time, we should expect the Speaker of Parliament to submit his statement of defense. And after submitting his statement of defense, we know that the Attorney General has not submitted his. And so we'll be expecting the Attorney General's office perhaps to also come back to the court to ask for leave of the court to submit a statement of defense. But the Attorney General's office has already explained that it can only submit its statement of defense when the Parliament has submitted a copy of the fiscal impact analysis of the bill. And until all these defenses are filed, the case cannot continue. So the concerns that we hear about delay, until these two parties file their defenses. After they've done so, then they are given time to file memorandum of issues, which is basically the parties recommending to the court what matters are of concern to be resolved. Then the court will now have asked them to file their final addresses or final submissions, and then the court will consider all these and deliver a judgment in the matter.
We do know that the lawyers for Richard Sky have been responding to it, but before we go to that, can you tell us, in case the lawyers for the Speaker and the Attorney General's office fail to file in 7 days, what then happens?
Well, as the Judicial Service has consistently explained, until it is done, the hands of the judiciary and the apex court is tied. And so it all rests now on the office of the Speaker of Parliament as well as the Office of the Attorney General to file the necessary proceedings. Then the Supreme Court can give a date for subsequent hearings of the matter.
Very well, thank you so much. That's Hansen Ajima. He's our court correspondent here at Citi FM. Earlier, they've been speaking to Pakwesi Abedu, who represents Richard Sky, who has been indicating that the memorandum of issues can only be filed after the defenses have been filed.
Truth of the matter is that we are all practitioners. As lawyers, in one way or the other, we get caught by time. So if your colleague comes to court to tell you that because he was inundated with work, he could not file a process within a stipulated time, it is usually not in our makers lawyers to object. And it was upon the basis of this that I did not raise any objection, because it can equally happen to me. So it is in the spirit of practice of the law. But let me also add this, that it is not only counsel for the first defendant who did not file, but the Attorney General also has not filed his statement of case. And I believe you all heard the excuse given by the Attorney General that they are still waiting for the financial impact assessment, which has still not been attached by the first defendant to any application before the court. And until they get that, they have no response to make. That, to us, is a very crucial part of this litigation. And we hope to draw attention or focus to that particular process, which up to now, nobody has seen in court.
He had Pakwesi Abedu, his lawyer for Richard de la Sky. You're still listening to the City Prime News. When we return, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin is set to rule on the petition seeking to remove 4 MPs from the House. We'll bring you details of this and other stories shortly. Please stay with us.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Ago Omambapa, the time to exercise your civic duty is here again. This year, we the good people of Ghana have another opportunity to elect our leaders on December 7. This is a very important national exercise and you have the civic duty to make that decision for Ghana. Don't be indifferent because your vote counts. Vote on issues. Don't sell your vote. Reject violent candidates and expose acts that undermine the integrity of the elections. Don't attempt to snatch a ballot box or deface political party posters. The law will deal with you. December 7, 2024 is election day. Pick up your voter's ID card. Get to your polling station. Follow the voting process. Make that bold decision for Ghana. Vote peacefully. Ghana must win. Vote on December 7. It's your civic duty.
Civic duty required of you as a Ghanaian. So get involved and vote.
A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
Channel 1 TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on Channel 363. On GoTV, we're on Channel 117. And on HD+, get us on Channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search. But take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Channel 1 TV. Channel 1 TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box, like the DSTV and HD+ boxes. Channel 1 TV, telling your story, empowering change.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
A very warm welcome to you. Now, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin is set to rule today on a petition seeking the removal of 4 members of Parliament. Aguna West MP Cynthia Morrison, Suhum MP Kujo Asante, Fomina MP Andrea Siama, and a Memphis Central MP Peter Kwache Aka. Now, the minority claims they filed to contest as independent candidate in the December polls, hence vacating their seat. Let's go to the floor of the House now and speak with my colleague Ni Aikwe Okai, who's a man in the House. Good afternoon, Aikwe. Thank you for joining us on the news. Has the Speaker said anything so far on this ruling he's expected to give?
Thanks for having me, Ajwa. So as it stands now, sitting hasn't started yet. Ideally, we're supposed to commence sittings at 10 a.m., but that is yet to happen. We will have only a few of the MPs in the chamber. We are expecting that any moment from now, the Speaker would come in so that officially sitting or proceedings would commence. As it stands now, sitting hasn't started.
Well, do we know what else the Parliament will be considering today, apart from the Speaker giving his ruling on this very crucial matter?
So on Tuesday, as I indicated, on Tuesday we had the House resuming from recess for the 5th session, which will be the final session of this 8th Parliament. And then what we saw was the minority actually petitioning the Speaker to ensure that some seats, 4 seats, are declared vacant because 3 of these MPs have declared their intentions to contest as independent candidates. And then also we have the Fomina MP, who is also an independent candidate, also seeking to contest the 2024 polls on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. So they deemed that Article 97 of the Constitution has stated that once a member of Parliament declares his intent to contest as an independent candidate or to join another party or to seek to remain in Parliament as an independent candidate, he or she should be, his seat or her seat should be declared vacant. But the majority side believes that there hasn't been any petition from a political party to that effect, warranting the declaration of the seat vacant. So today, the Speaker is expected, as he indicated, that he should be given 48 hours to provide a detailed ruling. That is the major event that we are expecting to take place in the House today, so that members of Parliament will be clear in their minds what exactly the next line of action will be. Already we know the majority leader has taken a step to the Supreme Court demanding that an injunction be placed on this particular action. So we are expecting that the Speaker would make a pronouncement on this matter.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Nia Ikwe Okai. He's our parliamentary correspondent. Let's now move to some other stories. Now, the chairman of the Government Assurances Committee of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has alleged that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has signed a contract with a company to manage visa applications for all diplomatic missions abroad. According to the Member of Parliament for North Tong, Access Citizens Company has no track record, and the contract was awarded without the approval from the Public Procurement Authority, raising questions about value for money. Now, speaking to Citi News, Mr. Ablakwa expressed dissatisfaction with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for not involving Parliament, adding that the state's share of benefits from the deal is woefully inadequate.
We need to be worried because our outsourcing that has been done without following due process. First of all, the company does not have a track record. Number two, the company was just single source. Number three, the Public Procurement Authority knows nothing about this, in flagrant violation of our public procurement laws. It has not gone through the procurement process. And then, number four, why should this company be given exclusivity and to even become an impediment, to stand in the way of Ghana? This is a government that is going all over the place bragging about digitalization, that it intends to make sure that we digitalize and that we modernize our public services. Why sign a contract that serves as an impediment and blockade towards digitalization, where a company says that because e-visas are not in my interest, you don't introduce it? If you must introduce it, you must give me notice. And we are talking about a contract which is from now to 2028, when we are already lagging behind.
Well, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa further states that Parliament will summon the Minister for Foreign Affairs and the National Security officials and their directors of the company to answer questions regarding this particular deal.
The Foreign Affairs Committee is going to be summoning the Minister for Foreign Affairs. Remember that since 2022, when they started piloting this, we have been asking for the agreement. They have stonewalled. They have deliberately refused to give us the agreements. Fortunately, we have intercepted everything now. So we're going to summon them. We are going to summon the management of the company. We are going to also be speaking to our embassy officials who are totally outraged, including national security officials who are raising fundamental issues about data protection. We are going to put all of this data in the hands of this, hurriedly single source company with no track record. It's very, very dangerous. It's a threat to national security. So we are going to summon all of them and get to the bottom of this. And we are serving notice that there is absolutely no way a future NDC government is going to respect the terms of this unconscionable deal.
Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa serves as the chairman of the Government Assurances Committee in Parliament. Moving on now, the Senior Staff Association of the Volta River Authority has accused the government of deliberate attempts to separate the VRA thermal assets for onward sale to private investors and politicians with its proposed energy bills. The bills seek to merge the Electricity Company of Ghana, We Power Authority, the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NETCO, and the VRA into two separate entities. While addressing journalists, the chairman of the Senior Staff Association of the VRA, Theophilus Tete Ahia, urged members of Parliament to kick against the proposed energy bills, arguing that they do not serve the state's interest.
NETCO, that is Electricity Distribution Company of Ghana, and that of Electricity Company of Ghana, to form the Electric Distribution Power Company Authority. It's also not in the best interest of this country. As you are all aware, the ECG is facing challenges. It's not able to make payment all the energy sales that they receive from the generators. As we speak today, ECG dedicated to the VRA is over 2 billion Ghana cedis. That of the IPPs is over $1.5 billion. How can we achieve the objective as espoused in the bills, that we are bringing efficiency, we are going to reduce the cost of electricity to the people of this country, and also to reduce government financing of this sector. We are saying that that is not the true objective. The objective, I'm telling you the press today, that is the separation of the via retema asset and eventual sale to private persons. Currently, I can tell you that the IPPs in this country produce about over 50% of our energy needs of this state. I don't know how many of you have heard that Sono Asogi has shut down. They have taken over 560 megawatts of electricity from our national grid. Means that they are taking the country to task, and this is going to impact negatively on our economy.
You have the chairman of the Senior Staff Association of the Volta River Authority, Theophilus Tete, here. Moving on now, the Member of Parliament for Saboba, Joseph Nikpe Bukari, says the recent flooding in the area has taken a devastating toll on the community, with 2 lives lost and many more affected. The MP says the torrential rains have left most communities in the constituency cut off, severely impacting residents' livelihoods. Now, roads leading to Saboba and Tripone from Tamale, Yendi and Wapuli are currently inaccessible. Addressing journalists, the Member of Parliament appealed for government intervention.
Remember that we are blessed with a lot of river bodies, and in Saboba the river Oti passes them. We have a lot of low-lying areas, so all those areas are flooded, and all the crops that were cultivated have all been submerged. A lot of settlements have been submerged, and a lot of people have to leave their area or their abode where they stay to now look for shelter in schools. As at 2 days ago, we had lost 2 people for what the disaster is to property. I think it's so huge that I want to say that NADMO and government needs to intervene. Now, the difficult thing is that because of the floods, all the 4 entry points to Saboba are all cut off. We have an entry point from Yendi through Palaba to Saboba. We have another one from Yendi through Wapuli to Saboba, and another one from Cherponi through Bangbopong to Saboba, and another one with from Saboba town through Boagban to the Republic of Togo. All these 4 entry points are all cut off.
Member of Parliament for Saboba, Joseph Nikpe Bukari. Now, in celebration of this year's World Food Day, KFC Ghana has donated food to selected orphanages, including Nungwa Orphanage and Teshi Orphanage, among others, across the country. This initiative is part of the company's corporate social responsibility aimed at giving back to society and bringing smiles on the face of Ghanaians. Speaking to Citi News, KFC's digital marketing manager, Priscilla Ajo, said this donation is part of a monthly effort by the company to support communities in need.
Okay, so actually today being the 16th of October is World Food Day, and then KFC, as we know, we are into food, right? So we just wanted to give back to the orphanage by having lunch with them. So actually New Life is actually the second orphanage that we've done today. From here we are moving to Teshi as well to have lunch with them. So it's just because today is a World Food Day, so we want to celebrate it with them by giving back food to the community. And then also food is not just for filling your hunger, it puts smiles on your face. So these are kids who are not really with their family, so we say, okay, today being World Food Day, why not just have lunch with them to put smiles on their face as well. Yeah, so apart from it being part of CSR, we just want to put smiles on the kids' face.
You heard from Priscilla Ajo, digital marketing manager for KFC. Meanwhile, the chief of Otiano, Ni Ofote Botre II, expresses excitement about the donation and call for stakeholders to donate to young individuals in the country.
Their coming is also a good thing because the children have to. It's not always that you have to eat homemade food. Sometimes you have to eat different food from different places. And we wish next year when they are doing it, they would rather invite us to come to their place and then organize certain activities for the children. But they know it's so good. And I believe it will also help the children.
You heard the chief of Otiano Ni Afote Boche II. And that will be it for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios in Adabraka, Accra. For more stories, log on to citynewsroom.com for more stories. You can also join the conversation on all election-related matters using the hashtag Citi Verifies, hashtag Ghana Post 2024, hashtag the Election Bureau. My name is Ajwatin Krama Domna. Many thanks for your company. Good afternoon.
Citi.